Hey guys, Josh Stockleather for video discussion 7, our last one. So our prompt is based on a lecture from Mr. Brazel on communism and socialism. Tell me what you understand to be the difference between the two philosophies, and do you see any evidence in our country today? Well, socialism, as he said, is the cooperative movement of a society to bring about social equality with the government as the driving force behind ensuring that equality. Of course, we know that this began as a political movement in France, as Mr. Brazel states in his lecture. The systems of socialism is not bad itself. However, the people are evil. The people that make up that stance, or who follow or want to have socialism prevalent in our society. And in such, Frank goes on to say that some lives were better in this movement and some lives were lost, were not so good. So what is communism? Communism is, all property is publicly owned, and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. All the goods and the money, all the goods produced, all the money earned is divided amongst the people. Of course, this also, as socialism fails to take into account man's evilness and our inherent sin nature, the corruption ensues in this model, as we see around the world with North Korea, with Russia, and arguably some other countries as well, in specific entities or groups, and we can get into that in just a moment. So in terms of how is there any evidence in our country today? Of course, political candidates over the past probably 10 years or so, more notably Bernie Sanders is for, of course, socialism, and is probably the main driver and backer and face known of this specific movement. Of course, he has failed to get his ideas come into the mainstream realm of thought and doing and working out here. He's failed to be elected. The people don't want it. They spoke, so to speak. And that sounds cliche, but that's just the way it is. In terms of communism in our country, I know this is going to be somewhat controversial, but it's widely known if you do your research. The movement itself, Black Lives Matter, the organization, not the belief or term Black Lives Matter, of course, to God and as Christians, of course they matter. All lives matter, right? But the organization itself is founded under Marxist ideology, communist. They are a communist movement and organization, that their beliefs are rooted in a lot of Marx's beliefs, what he writes as to how one should be or act, or how society should act. So I guess that would be those things are seen in our country today in terms of political movements, politicians, and of course ordinary people who have organizations, non-profit organizations, or some are for profit, that type of thing. In the Bible, it does say, and I want to read Acts chapter 2 verse 44 through 46. All those who believed were together and had all things in common, and they began selling their property and possessions, and were sharing them with all, as anyone might have need. And day by day, continuing with one mind in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, they were taking their meals together. So this just shows that this is it's not a collective thing. It's an individual thing that we're supposed to do here in our lives and our society. And through love and unity in the church and for God, that's what we need. We don't need a social-political stance or structure to our own individual self to know and love God, and to follow Him. That's what we're called to do. So, yep, looking forward to reading all the other discussions. See you guys later.